Hi, and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is the 11th of December. We're on page 30 of the magazine. And today's article is called The Wright Stuff. And because we're talking about, of course, the Wright brothers. And every time somebody comes up with a snappy title like The Wright Stuff, because the Wright Stuff, R-I-G-H-T stuff, means you are made of the thing that is full of success. You are made of success. That's what the Wright Stuff means. He's got the right stuff. He's made of success. What if these guys had been called the Wrong Brothers, R-O-N-G?
I have no idea.
Like, you couldn't make any of these puns. Would they have been successful if they'd been called wrong?
Don't know.
Is name destiny?
Yeah, 所以这个名字很好玩啊。因为这个莱特兄弟的英文呢 ，Wright 啊，它是 W-R-I-G-H-T， 它的声音跟正确 R-I-G-H-T 一模一样，所以常常人家就会在上面玩这个文字游戏啊。所以只要有人谈到莱特兄弟啊，如果讲到他们的东西，常常就会讲到这个 The Wright Stuff 啊这样的一个 pun。好，那当然我们可以说，如果他是莱特兄弟的话，他的 stuff 就关于他们的一些东西。这样的话是一个 title， 但是英文里面 the right stuff 那个 R-I-G-H-T the right stuff 也可以表示说这个你有what it takes to succeed 的那种感觉。
So actually there's a movie called The Wright Stuff, but it's R-I-G-H-T.
Oh, okay.
And it's about people, I think, about astronauts.
好，所以好像有一部电影呢是 The Right Stuff， 这 R-I-G-H-T 好像是跟太空人有关的。
So it's still about flight, but not about this flight.
Yeah.
Let's read our article.
The world has never been more accessible than it is now, and airplanes are one of the main reasons. Today, people can fly from the U.S. to Singapore in one long hop, or board a plane for a trip to Antarctica. With all these possibilities, it's sometimes hard to believe the first ever flight took place a mere 116 years ago. On December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers made the world's first successful airplane flight, a trip that lasted 12 seconds and covered 120 feet. Known collectively as the Wright brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright became involved in aviation in a roundabout way. Though neither brother went to college, Orville, in fact, dropped out of high school, they were both interested in mechanics and engineering. While living and working in their hometown of Dayton, Ohio, they built printing presses and even designed their own bicycles. The brothers became fascinated with attempts at flight in the late 1800s and studied aeronautics in their spare time. As with others before them, the Wright brothers saw gliders as a stepping stone to mechanical flight. In 1900, the men went to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, to work on testing a glider of their own design. For several years, the brothers made adjustments to their glider, improving wing design and adding a steerable rudder. In 1903, they built the Wright Flyer, which had wooden propellers and a lightweight engine. After weeks of trials, Orville climbed aboard the plane and successfully took off, flying roughly 10 feet above the ground at just under 7 miles per hour. Today, the original Wright brothers aeroplane hangs in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and shows how much planes have changed since that first flight.
So the world has never been more accessible than it is now. Accessible and access, these are words that I find Taiwanese students don't really have a grasp on how to use. Access means the ability to get something or get into something. You need internet access. It means you have the ability to get on the internet. You need to have access to food, shelter, and comfort would mean that you have these things are available to you. So to have access to something means it's available to you for use. If it's accessible, that also means that you are able to get it. You have access to it. It is accessible to you. So the world is accessible in a way now that it never has been before. Accessible means is you can go and have it. Before, if you wanted to call another country, it was a very big deal. Now you just pick up your cell phone and call. If you have the code, you can do it. Before, if you wanted to travel anywhere, you had to get on a boat or you had to get on a train. And now you can just literally get on a plane and be on the other side of the world in less than 20 hours, which is amazing. So the world is accessible. We can access it. We can have it. And airplanes are one of the main reasons.
好，所以我们看到这个地方刚刚 Angela 是特别介绍了 accessible 跟 access 这两个字。好，那他说很多人不太知道这两个字怎么用。那其实这个 access 它的意思就是你有通往的管道，也就是你可以取得的意思。所以 to have access to 就是可以取得以之运用这个感觉。那 accessible 就是它的形容词，表示可以取得的。那它另外还有一个意思就是可以到达的，你可以有这个管道通往那个地方，叫做 accessible， 可以到达的意思。好，所以我们看到这个句子，他说 The world 我们这个世界呢 has never been more 从来没有更加的 accessible， 就是 capable of being reached 的意思啊，你可以到达啊，所以这个世界并没有从来没有像现在一样，你可以到达你要去的地方啊，而且通常的表示轻易的就到达了。好，然后呢 Then it is now 就是从来没有比现在更加的 accessible， 这个世界从来没有像现在这么的 accessible， 这么的 capable of being reached。 好，然后呢他告诉我们说 Airplanes 飞机 are one of the main reasons 是主要的原因之一，因为有飞机所以我们才可以很快的到达别的地方啊。当然有的人可能觉得还是不够快，但是相较于以前那真的是快得不得了啊！以前从甲地到乙地可能要1个星期，要1个月。好，那甚至于根本到不了，但是现在的话可以坐飞机。
And today, people can fly from the U.S. to Singapore. Honestly, it used to be a 3-day trip minimum. And then before then, it was months of being in a boat. But now you can just hop on over in one long hop. Or you can board a plane, not a train. You can board a plane for a trip to Antarctica. Although those are limited, and it's actually only a few hours flight from the tip of South America.But you can do it. You can just fly to Antarctica should you decide to.
Yeah, 那这个 Antarctica 就是南极洲。那我们回来看这个句子，他说今天呢，人们可以 fly 就是坐飞机从 the US 从美国飞到新加坡 in one long hop。好 ，hop 这个字呢，本来通常是指 a short flight in an airplane。啊，例如说 a hop down to St. Louis 啊，就是这个短程飞机过去，但在这里呢，它前面加一个 long， 所以就是表示你长程飞机坐一次就可以了。
Like the hop implies that it's short and convenient. So a long hop is a long but short and convenient trip.
Okay.
I mean, it is shorter than it used to be. So in a way, it is. It's hilarious. It's kind of a contradiction.
Yeah, 所以像我们刚刚讲 hop 本来是个 short， 然后这个 Angela 说不只是 short， 而且通常感觉 convenient 的一个 flight。那前面加这个 long 啊，感觉起来这是一个比较长时间的，但是又是个 short and convenient flight。那有点好像冲突，但其实比以前比起来当然是 short。好，所以他就用 in one long hop。好，那你也可以 board a plane 登上一架飞机 for a trip to Antarctica， 所以你也可以登上飞机去南极洲玩一趟，去跑一趟。
And when you think about all the flying that happens all around the world, you can see an airplane in the sky just almost all the time. With all these possibilities for travel, it's sometimes hard to believe the very first flight took place, happened a mere 116 years ago. A mere is a more emphatic way of saying only. It could take place only a little while ago, but a mere 116 years ago, that's nothing in the blip of human life. And also in terms of technology, considering that we've only had this technology for 100 years, now it's ubiquitous. It is literally everywhere.
好 ubiquitous 就是everywhere 的意思啊。How do you spell it?
I knew you were going to ask me, so I was preparing. Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous.
就是 everywhere 的意思，到处都有啊。好，所以我们可以看到说，这个with all these possibilities 啊，有这么多的这么多种可能性，就是你爱去哪里就去哪里啊。那这个坐飞机就可以到了，或者是坐船都有可能，开车都可以。所以有这么多的可能性呢 ，it's sometimes hard to believe。有时候你觉得这件事情蛮难相信的。什么事情很难相信呢？就是 the first ever flight， 这个有史以来第一次 the first ever flight took place。发生是 a mere 116 years ago， 所以 a mere 其实就是 only 的意思，但是 a mere 是比较强的一个语气，而且 a 后面加一个 mere 本来是仅仅是的意思啊，所以这个仅116年前啊，我们才有第一次的首次的飞行。
And be careful when you say a mere, by the way. It has kind of a negative connotation. It can be. It just means like, it's only that little bit, no big deal, kind of a feeling.
这个地方要注意的是 a mere 呢，有的时候有一点那种有一点负面的，所谓的负面就是仅啊，没有比这个多。你以为有很多吗？没有，就是这么一点点而已，是这个意思啊。好，那要注意这个字的用法。
Now, on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers made the world's first successful airplane flight. Other people were working on this, and in fact, a few weeks later, somebody else did their first flight. And it's interesting, this is often true in the history of the world, that lots of people are working on the same idea at the same time, and almost it happens a lot that everybody sort of figures it out at the same time, even if they're not communicating with each other. It's one of the mysteries of this world, actually. So they did it first, though, and it was a trip that lasted 12 seconds and covered 120 feet. So he flew like across his garden, essentially. But they flew and for really did fly, not glided, because gliding is different than flying. Why and how? To glide, all of the energy that you use to fly in your gliding was given to you in the beginning, initial burst. And flying means you've got continuous input of energy pulling you along.
Yeah, glide 跟 fly 不一样 ，glide 是滑翔啊，所以你滑翔的时候，动力是一开始的时候给你的那个动力，你就靠着那个动力啊滑，慢慢等到那个动力没有为止。那飞行的话就不一样，飞行是你自己一直不断的有持续的动力。那另外呢，刚刚 Angela 老师也提到一个很有趣的现象，就是人类的文明史上面很多东西呢，差不多都在同一个时间有不同的人想到或者想出来或者发明出来啊，但是当然在历史上留名的就是第一个想到的人啊，像这个很多人说过爱因斯坦他的相对论，其实当时德国有另外一个科学家在跟他做同样的东西啊，只是爱因斯坦好像比他早一天的样子发表出来，那个科学家一看到就完蛋了，因为他的 life's work gone 因为爱因斯坦已经讲出来了，他如果再讲的话，人家说你不是抄爱因斯坦的吗？那其实他跟爱因斯坦差不多时候想出来的，这个很有趣。好，那像这个很多东西像飞行也是一样，其实在那个时候很多人都在想尽办法要研究飞行，所以人类文明进展到某一个程度，好像就很多东西就几乎是自然而然就会有人想到。
And also it really sometimes seems to be a matter of luck as to who gets the thing. Sometimes it's a matter of conniving, though. Edison didn't invent any of the stuff that we give him credit for. Edison learned all of his stuff from other people, but he was the best guy at promoting himself. So Edison gets credit for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But he didn't invent the light bulb. What he invented was a system by which the light bulb would be widely distributed and used. Why don't we give credit for that kind of invention? Because inventions of systems are just as important as inventions of objects.
Yeah. 是吧？所以这个当然有的时候你成为第一个发明的人，那当然跟运气有关。那另外一方面其实也是跟你能不能运用这个资源有关系啊，像刚刚讲到爱迪生，其实灯泡不是他发明的，但他发明的是一个体系，能够让灯泡大量的运用。好，那你说这个不重要吗？这个也很重要，因为这个 system 也是非常的重要啊。那你那个 object 很重要 ，system 也很重要。好，那这个有点扯远了，我们回来看这个哈。所以我们看到说，这个在1903年的12月17日，这个莱特兄弟呢 made the world's first successful airplane flight。啊，他们成功的进行了世界上第一次成功的飞机的飞行。然后呢，同伟也告诉你，它是一个 trip， 他们这次飞了多久呢 ？That lasted 12 seconds. Lasted 就是 to continue in time, go on 的意思，持续了12秒钟。然后呢 ，covered 是涵盖啊，它涵盖多少的距离呢？涵盖了120英尺。啊，大家听起来就真好笑，飞12秒120英尺，基本上就飞过它的花园而已嘛。但是这是人类第一次成功的飞行。
The difference between 0 and 1.
Yeah, 0跟1的差别非常的大，有了1之后，有2有3可能就比较容易了。
Yeah, it's just iteration after that.
Yeah.
So these two guys were known collectively as the Wright brothers. It's kind of weird to say that the pair of them are known collectively because I think of a collective as like being 3 or more, but as a group of two, they're known as the Wright brothers, and their names are Wilbur and Orville Wright. And they became involved in aviation. They got into aviation in a roundabout way. They didn't directly go, oh yeah, let's go invent the airplane. they kind of were involved in a lot of different kind of mechanical exploration, and then they kind of settled eventually on trying to figure out flying.
好，所以 known collectively 就是一起统称集合放在一起，所以他们两个人一起被并称为 The Wright Brothers。好，那这两个人呢 became involved in 就是涉足于从事于 aviation 飞行这件事情是怎么样呢？是 in a roundabout way 是一个还蛮曲折的，不是直接就一开始就投入这一页的，而是用一个 roundabout 就是 indirect 或者是 circuitous 就是一个绕圈圈的 circuitous 是 C-I-R-C-U-I-T-O-U-S C-I-R-C-U-I-T-O-U-S 跟 circle 有关的一个字。
It's not easier than roundabout. It's just different.
I know, yeah.
Actually, I prefer roundabout. I feel like it's more direct than
circuitous. Yeah, roundabout 其实最简单的一个写法。
Yeah. Circuitous is more circuitous of a word.
那 circuitous 感觉起来绕了更多的圈圈了。
Yeah. So even though neither brother went to college, they didn't go to college because at the time, college was like the equivalent of graduate school now, and high school was kind of like college. So Orville dropped out of high school at the time is the same as somebody dropping out of college now. Like, it's a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. You can still live and work and get perfectly good work doing that. So even though they didn't go to college and they, in fact, were high school dropouts, or at least one of them was, they were both interested in mechanics and engineering. I want to say this, though. At the time, mechanics and engineering were what, like, getting involved in computers are now. The same kind of cool cachet. It was like the cool frontier to tinker around with. And there was no, like, really, there was some people who were already making established machines, but there was a lot of room for invention. And it's kind of like how the internet is now.
好，那我们看到这个句子我们看到说，他说 neither brother 就兄弟两个人都没有 went to college 都没有上大学。那当然那个年代上大学是很不得了的事情那个当时的大学可能比现在的研究所还值钱然后呢 Orville 他 in fact 事实上呢他 dropped out of high school 他高中没念完那当年的高中跟现在的大学其实差不多了感觉起来然后呢虽然他们都换句话说他们两个都没有接受极为高等的教育或者没有接受高等教育但是呢 they were both interested in 他们两个人对什么都很有兴趣呢对 mechanics 机械还有 engineering 工程方面都很有兴趣那刚刚 Angela 老师特别提醒各位在当年那个年代呢你如果对机械对工程有兴趣呢就有点像现在你在玩电脑科技那种感觉因为当年机械跟工程在人类的文明时代才刚刚开始发展出来然后有很多很多新的东西新的可能等大家去发掘而且那个是最尖端的东西
Like this is around the same time that cars were being developed. I mean, like they had already cars, but like people were trying to figure out how to make them cheaper and better and faster and whatever.
例如说这个时候汽车才刚刚发明没多久那大家都还在想怎么样去改善汽车怎么样把它做得更好
So it was a high value career is what I'm trying to say.
And
so, yeah.
所以他们这个 career 是很有价值的而且这个其实薪水可能也不错
Yeah, so they were living and working in their hometown. And they started to do things like build printing presses, which, you know, you could sell those for real money.
They did.
Right. But they could also, I mean, that's how they funded their career. They sold things that they sold for real money, and then they played around with other things on the side. So they designed their own bicycles.
好，所以呢，这个他们 living 他们居住还有 working 工作在他们的家乡好，这个 Dayton, Ohio 那他们 built 他们组装了printing presses 就是印刷机好，所以他们自己做印刷机而且还把他们做的印刷机卖给其他的印刷厂他们自己也开印刷公司那也赚了一点钱他们还甚至于还办报纸然后呢 they even designed their own bicycles 他们甚至于自己设计脚踏车这个中文会说自己设计脚踏车英文是说他们设计自己的脚踏车这蛮有趣的It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, but it's a slightly different thing at the same time. Like, if you say they designed their own bicycles, maybe they didn't design them for other people. Or they designed their own bicycles. They made their own designs for bicycles, which then they sold to other people or kept to themselves. We don't know. So it could be it's like their own bicycles for their own personal use, or it was their own designs. And the sentence is ambiguous. The Chinese is clearer.
Yeah. 大概英文的句子呢这样写法感觉起来好像是他们设计的他们自己骑的那个脚踏车或者是他们自己设计脚踏车然后呢把这个脚踏车也可能卖给别人或怎么样的 好，那中文就很清楚，他们自己设计脚踏车就很清楚的是，他们设计脚踏车不见得是自己骑。
So, but then the brothers became fascinated with attempts at flight because other people were working on this problem. So it kind of became the fashionable problem for people who liked machines to get into. They're like, ooh, that's cool. Let's try it ourselves. So they became fascinated with attempts at flight, tries at flying in the late 1800s. And so they studied aeronautics in their spare time, as you do. Like now aeronautics is a very serious science, but at the time it was just something people tinkered around with.
Tinker around 就是碰一碰而已，玩一玩啊，这个不是非常 seriously 的去研究。好，所以我们看到这个地方他讲到说啊，他们这两位兄弟呢，他们 became fascinated with 就是他们开始对什么感到着迷，对什么感到着迷呢？ Attempts at 就是尝试要做这件事情，尝试要干嘛？要飞行 attempts at flight。 然后呢，这个是在19世纪末的时候，他们两个人就非常着迷，看能不能飞起来。然后他们研究 studied 研究 aeronautics， 就是这个 the design and construction of aircraft， 就怎么样去设计制造飞机。好，那当然它也后来也可以有别的意思，什么空气动力学之类的，有时候也会用这个字，但在这里应该指的就是他们研究怎么样设计制造飞机。然后呢 in their spare time， 他们有空就研究怎么样自己设计制造飞机。
As with others before them, just like everyone else studying the problem, the Wright brothers saw gliders as a stepping stone to mechanical flight. So they saw how gliders work, and people were already using gliders, and also you can watch birds glide through the air. So they saw that as a stepping stone. They saw that you had to at least have a glider in your design. And that's a stepping stone as a means of getting to mechanical flight or engine-powered flight.
好，那我们看到他说 as with others before them， 正如他们的前辈一样，这两位兄弟他们认为 gliders 滑翔机啊，滑翔翼是 a stepping stone， 就是垫脚石 to mechanical flight。mechanical flight 机械飞行就是以机器为动力的飞行啊，所以就不是 gliding， 而是真正的飞行，而且有机器提供 power。
Now in 1900, the year 1900, the men went to Kitty Hawk, a place in North Carolina, to work on testing a glider of their own design. I kind of wonder why they couldn't stay in Ohio. Do you know the reason?
Not really.
There must have been a reason.
Yeah.
Why bother moving across the country, you know?
Yeah, for some reason 哈，这个1900年的时候，两个人呢就到了这个 Kitty Hawk 啊，这个North Carolina 这个地方 to work on 从事 testing， 就去那里测试 a glider of their own design， 就是他们自己设计的一个滑翔机。
For several years, this was not a quick or easy project. For several years, the brothers made adjustments to their glider. So they tried it and were like, what if we tried this? What if we tried that? They improved wing design. They made their wings a better shape. And they added a steerable rudder, a rudder where you could change directions.
所以有几年的时间 for several years 啊，这个两位兄弟他们 made adjustments to 就是调整他们的 glider 他们的滑翔机 improving 改善 wing design 就是机翼的设计，而且呢 adding 他们增加了一个 steerable 就是可以操控的可以 steer 的一个 rudder 一个方向舵。
I just want to explain, a rudder is something that keeps either a boat or an airplane stable in the air. And then, so a steerable means you could also change direction, but originally the rudder has to be there.
好，那这个 rudder 它就这个方向舵了哈，那但是方向舵不一定是 steerable 哈，所以这个后来他们弄了一个可以操控的一个方向舵。
So then in 1903, they built the Wright Flyer, not the wrong one, which had wooden propellers. So the propeller is the thing that pulls the airplane through the air. And a lightweight engine. And of course it had to be lightweight because they're trying to get it to fly.
Yeah. 好，那1903年呢，他们制造了这个 The Wright Flyer， 中文把它翻成飞行者1号。那 which 就这一架飞机呢，有 wooden 有木头的 propellers， 就是这个螺旋桨，然后呢，还有一个 lightweight 轻量级的 engine。这个引擎。
So after weeks of trials, they've been trying it and failing and trying and failing for weeks, which is the best but also worst time. Orville climbed aboard the plane. They're like, okay, we think it's not going to crash, so I'm actually going to get in it. And he successfully took off. He flew roughly 10 feet above the ground, so not very high, but higher than a person. And he flew at just under 7 miles per hour, so it wasn't quite as fast as 7 miles per hour. You know, that's slow. You can go faster on a bike.
骑脚踏车都会比较快啊。不过呢，他们这里讲到，在几个礼拜的测试之后 ，after weeks of trials， 那他爬上了climbed aboard the plane， 就是爬上飞机，然后呢 successfully took off， 很成功的起飞了。那 flying roughly about 大概飞了10 feet above the ground， 离地10尺这样的高度飞行。At 就是指它的速度，因为 at a speed， 所以用 at 这个介系词。它的速度呢 just under 7 miles per hour， 就是时速呢不到7英里。
Today, the original Wright brothers airplane, this is in quotes because that's how it's listed in the museum. It hangs in the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian is a fantastic museum all about technology.And also culture. If you have the chance to be in Washington, D.C., you must go to this museum.
Yeah.
So it hangs right there you can see it right there, and it shows how much planes have changed since that first flight.
Today, 今天呢 the original Wright brothers aeroplane, 这个是它标示，在当地就在博物馆里面标示就是这样，所以它放在 quotation marks 里面，就是莱特兄弟飞机的原机 hands in 就挂在这个华盛顿的 Smithsonian 这个博物馆啊，不过我们中文把它翻成史密森尼学会。好，那这个是很有趣，这个很棒的一个博物馆啊。它尤其它这个飞行馆里面，我那时候去玩过啊，这个里面挂了很多很多的飞机，你可以看得很快乐啊。那很多飞机在里面。然后呢，这架飞机 shows 它显示了 how much planes have changed， 飞机改变了多少。Since that first flight， 从那第一次的飞行之后，飞机有多少的变化？你从这里可以看得出来。你看那架原型机跟现在的飞机比较一下，你就知道哇，天差地远。
Well, thank you for joining us for the Wright Stuff. Come again next time for more good stuff at